Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. I definitely have some stuff in my mind here. Sometimes it's hard to sort some of this stuff out, so I'm doing this as I walk. And if it so happens I run out of juice, as it sometimes happens on my phone, so be it. I might make it part two or whatever. I don't know, figure it out. Yeah, I'm having some roommate issues a little bit. Somebody I thought would be a good match and for roommate, whatever, right now, and he's still is, but the thing is, well, I think it's just I don't know. Some folks really don't always operate on all cylinders. If you, it's not that this roommate is um, he's not impaired or anything. I've had friends before who had some um, limitations, I guess you could say, regarding how observant or astute they could be regarding other people. And so it was easier for them to get the wrong ideas about other people. And easier often for them to get upset about things. And just overall, wasn't always their fault, but they were less mature than a lot of other folks their age in some areas. But that kind of means different things to different people. It can get very nebulous, and someone can see me as being especially mature for my age. I don't know. It's very subjective. And some people seem to think that maturity has a lot more to do with spirituality and righteousness than life experience or whatever. Even different people have different ideas about that concept of maturity, but I'm just talking about like, can the person really get what's happening to someone else? And when things get kind of crazy, what happens? That's another thing too. Is I'm just thinking about people, the way people are right now, different people. And I'm trying to get away, kind of get more of a general perspective on things. But this so many people I've known in my life have not always been operating on every cylinder, so to speak. They haven't always been especially sharp people. I don't know why that's the case. That's just the way that I've been. So people I tend to gravitate toward sometimes. Or people gravitate toward me because I'm not an ASS hole, basically. I don't treat people like crap who are less intelligent than me. I've never been that way. So take that for what it's worth, I guess. Maybe that's. But the thing is, yeah, you can't. You just can't. With some people, you just can't. I've known other people in the past where you just can't reason with them. You can't explain certain things to them and expect them to understand it quickly. They want to butt heads with you. They want to argue with you. They don't want to hear, oh man, I really do have this minor or major flaw that maybe I should try to keep working on at least. Because a lot of these things you can't fix them overnight. It's a long time for some things. So Brigham Young once mentioned, and this is getting kind of into the righteousness thing arena, but Brigham Young, second prophet of my church, mentioned that if somebody had something not as nice to say to him, it was more in the way of a critique of his character on some level. He would listen to it and he'd try to ask himself if there's anything in what that person was saying that had some real truth to it. That's not it's not easy to do. Not at all. And the more that someone can do that and be really meek and humble about it, saying a whole heck of a lot of good things about that person's character. That tells you what kind of person Brigham Young was. That's how he really was. Anyway, but it stings a lot too. It's not easy to hear these things. And believe me, there are so many people I've known who are more either my senior in life or people I work with. I just never say anything remotely like that whatsoever to. Even though, in some cases, some of these parents and other people, we've become friends, even like we've been even professionally, but you have to know someone really well, or you go to the same church, you do whatever, to feel comfortable talking about this stuff, I think. But most people these days don't want to hear that stuff. There's so many people, by the way, that would rather just go the way of the natural man and just eat, drink, and be merry. It's nothing about the spiritual life that's easy. That's a joke. It's not a spiritual. See, it's not a spiritual life if it's easy. It might be a relaxing life. It might be a therapeutic life. There are people that do live like the family that was neighbors of the Griswolds. Like the yuppie folks. There are people that live like that. They have everything they want. They have their routine. They have their carefully chosen people that they, are married to, or that they, whatever, they have their thing. I don't really vary from that very much at all. And if there's something that happens that crosses their path, kind of throws them off a little bit, they go, whoa! Someone has a Christmas tree that flies through their window. Someone's using the sewer to empty out their poop in their RV. And so forth. But there are people that operate like that. I've known people like that. Do I respect that? No. I understand it, of course. How can you respect someone like that? I understand it. Because on some level, that's how I want to be. Well, I would like to live that way, sure, but I can never be that way entirely. It's like you're shutting out all those other people that you ought to be interacting with that are struggling. And these people that seem to have everything going right for them, or everything's just peachy, yeah, they're probably not even. See, the thing is that they don't want to struggle. They're avoiding struggle. Whatever's going on in their life, and then it's only a matter of time before something big happens that's tough for them. But yeah, there are people that actively avoid hardships and struggle. So it doesn't do anybody any good. This life, isn't it complex that way? Doesn't it make life more intriguing in a way when we just want to, think, oh, life is all just about pursuing whatever it is we want to pursue. We try not to think about, life is also going through some really hard stuff, extremely hard stuff, and then trying to put on a happy face for everybody. Yeah. Getting back to my roommate, I suppose. I've realized on some level, this guy cannot. Depends on what happens tomorrow, I suppose. This guy can't. He can't deal with anger. He can't deal with my anger. There are so many other people I've known. My anger is not even the slightest issue whatsoever. So yeah, those people, I would say by and large, probably more mature, have thicker skin. This guy just can't deal with his fallacies that way. And it's always when you're upset with somebody, or they're upset with you, when these fallacies come to the fore sometimes. I can be persnickety. There's a side to me that can be that way. I'm only persnickety when somebody's trying to, turn this into a who's right and who's wrong situation. It's often not that way at all. It's just a matter of understanding other people better. This is so much of life is understanding other people better, and so many of us that are less inclined to want to socialize with people all the time may have a harder time with this because we just aren't talking to as many people. Especially, if we isolate ourselves, which I can't do that. Or I'm not going to be that person that just has this routine, only talks to certain kinds of people, and that's it. Because that's just not a good way of operating. They're always really nice people, always really the best people I could possibly talk to. Of course, that's very appealing, but I was mentioning this very subject to another person I know, a bit older. Most people can handle my temper. And with most people, the temper doesn't really flare up very much. This guy. Why is it that, was that poop? I hope it wasn't poop. I think it's a banana peel. Good. Why is it that the big, tough, strong guys sometimes have the most sensitive natures? They want to be defensive so much. Why is that? I don't know. I know Jocko Willink isn't that way. So there are big guys that are thicker skinned. Maybe they have to be in the military or something. I don't know. In the military, you're forced to have thicker skin, or you can't hack it. You have to leave. If someone's convinced that they're right about something, or they're in the right, this is a guy, they're just going to keep holding to that. And this is a kind of the attitude that can be present even in middle-aged guys, older. Often this is more of a guy thing, and not always, but you guys know what I'm going to say already. There's nothing remotely mature or right about that way of being. If you always, it basically is just, you're not listening to somebody else. You're shutting people out. And that kind of attitude, it never goes well. It just never works out. If you act, and I've rarely been that way with people. Rarely. I've often asked myself, why is it that I've treated the way I have been treated in life? I have no idea. I just know that there are many good people that enjoy my company. I have no reason to change my personality for someone else who thinks that it's okay to act like this self-righteous jerkwad sometimes. This is a great person. This is not a bad person. I don't know why they think that this way of being is even remotely admirable. It's not. I can't. It's the kind of thing where I have to limit what I say to that kind of person. When I was at Central Washington University, around people that were not as, I'll say it, people that were either less religious or more especially less righteous, I had to not talk about certain things. Just to be on my peers' good side at Central Washington. And then, what's the thanks I get for all that effort? After they're not seeing me in person, they send me these angry emails and phone messages that are totally jacked up anyway. This is what I get for all the work I put into trying to be friends with them or get along with them. And now this is coming from a member of my own church. A similar kind of attitude I cannot stand. I can understand just being young and a bit whatever. But what I have no tolerance for is a disrespect for the desire to be a kind person toward other people. If there's a disrespect that way, I want nothing to do with it. And I have to figure out which way is this guy going. People get angry. We get angry with other people in life. this is why people end up getting divorced, because somebody's not very mature. Or a good person, and all that stuff. You know. Yeah. You know. I don't know. Just such a very sobering subject, but man, if you can't even listen to somebody without trying to interrupt them and trying to always say that you're right and that they're wrong, that's not mature. That's not a way of a good way of looking. A well-developed adult, in my opinion, is always going to think more in terms of what's going on in my life, or how do I want my life to be, and what am I after, as well as what's going on with this person, what's going on with their thoughts and feelings. It's always both at the same time. It's never just me. It's never just me. It's like me and the other person. When you're talking to anybody, and whenever it becomes just about me, that's the problem. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, how much of that's going on with this roommate of mine. I just have to, I don't know, see where he's at. If it's all about him, he's got a few things to learn, man. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.